Hi, I'm Nancy Hopkins, food editor for Better Homes and Gardens magazine, and I'm with Scott Peacock, and we're making a great American classic today, meatloaf.
Making some
Scott,
meatloaf.
what makes great meatloaf?
Great meatloaf is made the way everything great is, and that's with a lot of attention to the details, which are really simple but very important.
So tell us, what goes into meatloaf?
Well, some meat, but also some flavorings. And to start those flavorings, we're going to saute up some vegetables, a bit of butter, and we've got some mushrooms here that we've diced up pretty finely. And while that's cooking, I'm going to crush up a little bit of garlic, and some garlic that we've peeled. And then, because I want the flavor to go all through the meatloaf and not have big chunks of garlic, we're going to rub it to a paste. So these mushrooms are cooked a little bit, and then we've got some onion, about 1.5 cups, cut up rather finely. And then some celery. And a little bit of dried thyme, not too much, but about 1/2 teaspoon. For me, I just want a rich, flavorful, tasting meatloaf that has complexity to it, but it's also sort of subtle at the same time. So I think this is sort of a company meatloaf, I think, because it makes a nice, generous bit.
And
now we'll put the garlic in
garlic
now. You want to put that in a little closer to the end because you don't want to risk burning it. And then we'll just stir in 1/2 cup of grated carrots.
Oh.
And now we'll just set this aside. It's important to set this aside and let it cool completely before we mix it into the meat. So we've got about 3 parts beef and 1 part pork. And so to that, I'm going to season it with about 2 teaspoons of kosher salt, about 1 cup of breadcrumbs that we've soaked in 1/2 cup of 1/2 and 1/2. It lightens up and it binds together. And so you mix the eggs in with that. And then also bacon. Took about 4 slices of bacon and just chopped it up nice and fine. I'm going to add that in. I think that gives a little richness and some flavor. As far as mixing this, I think the best utensil to do that is one that you were born with, which is an immaculately clean hand. You're not trying to squish it together. I'm really trying to work it with my fingers and break it up to distribute everything through there and just twist it around and then work in this again to lighten it up. And then if you'll help me, we've got our wonderful vegetables that have cooled down. If you'll just sort of take them and mix them over the top. You could bake it in a loaf pan, which works fine, but I like cooking it in a baking dish instead because I think you get a little bit better crust. And this is, again, is a company-sized meatloaf, which I think is a good thing, or a leftover-sized meatloaf. So then I just dampen my hands just in some cool water and come in here and I like a nice, it's like, and just make it doesn't have to be perfect, just sort of flatten it out. I think a longer, narrow loaf is sort of attractive, but I think it helps to make just a little lip around here on the edge. This is totally optional. This is probably the only recipe I've ever used ketchup in.
But it's meatloaf.
But it's a very American thing, and in talking with people, I mean, this is that flavor, that American flavor and taste that people like, and it does have an intensity to it. I love the sharp and the sweet. So we're gonna enhance that just a little bit with a little bit of brown sugar. And just
about 2 tablespoons?
About 2 tablespoons and a little bit of cider vinegar, just about a teaspoon.
That's different.
Yep, and we've got 1/2 cup of organic ketchup here. And there you have it.
Beautiful.
It's ready to go into the oven.
Wow, easy. Scott, this looks just amazing. I can't wait to taste it. I'm Nancy Hopkins for Better TV.